So, in the past few days, I had few conversations with different people, and I guess I've come to some new understandings about my life that I haven't even seen before. I guess the main one was how much I value my freedom, how much I find that personal choice is such an important thing to hold on to in this world before the world will get a grip on you with all its expectations and demands. In such times, it's so important to recognize that we do have choices and we have our own authority to find out what makes us feel good, alive, and that we are the one who living our life and not being consumed by all those external things, even by our own time. And it was funny because for a while I was in the city with my parents, and while I was there and I had a shelter and I had some level of security externally, I felt extremely miserable. I was constantly stressed out. I couldn't sleep well. I was always nervous, and I felt like time was consuming me, and like my freedom was a curse, not a blessing, because it was always filled with noise and demands that I didn't even realize wasn't my own, and I didn't need it much. But then at some point I realized that all this security or just something that I can rely on makes me so unhappy, and if I'm suffering so much, then there must be something else. So I answered my calling, not knowing where it's gonna take me. And right now on my journey, I'm in a place that is very free, quite adventurous, pretty much in the unknown. Truly, every day is is a new experience, and everything that happens is so wild, yet I cannot even explain how happy I am, how fulfilled I feel, how much I confront things that made me feel uncomfortable because it wasn't necessarily what's expected of me. But as I broke away from the expectations that others have placed on me and then I internalized onto myself, I realized I have a lot more choices than I previously seen. And some of them might not be as valued by others, but as I stepped more into my own energy, into my own heart, into my own desires, into what I want to do that cause no one harm but makes me happy. And if I had to stand up to certain things in order to do what I feel that is truly good for me at no one else's expense, I just had to step into my courage and recognize that I don't have to give up my personal choice, and that I can actually advocate for what I want, what I need, and what I believe. And it was quite empowering. Another thing that I felt as I was talking with many people is that we live in a world that teaches us to conform, and that if we'll be good people, that follow the rules, that follow a certain path, that takes what it takes in order to create security, then we'll be either recognized or just rewarded with external things that will guarantee our survival. But there's also another path, the path of freedom, which is not as known, but there is something about it that once you have tasted the taste of true freedom and what it feels like to be truly free, you can't truly step back into the previous version of yourself that have taken orders and thought it was actually what's needed in order to live. And another beautiful thing I've realized about freedom is that it shouldn't be like an irresponsible thing at someone else's expense. When you take such path, you have to honor that other people have choices and rights too. And being respectful and understanding and like not taking advantage of your freedom to hurt another. That's what some people do when they actually live in an illusion of freedom. In freedom that is externalized rather than an internal state. There is a world of stuff and the world of experiences that all lie in the same universe on our same earth. And I guess so many of us choose the word of stuff simply because it's what valued by most people, genuinely. And experiences are something we don't always know. It's not always in our control. When we go into the chaos of the world, when we meet another soul and other people and other cultures and other groups or individuals that have different views and different needs. But it's such a magic to see what happens when you actually give it a chance, when you give yourself a chance to be free, and then you allow other people to be part of your experience, and they respond to you in ways you might not understand, and actually it might surprise them too. The way in which you create an impact in a way that is not forceful. You don't try to force an outcome. You don't try to change other people. You don't try to control them or convince them. You just do your thing, and that's so magnetic. And people just feel it about you, so they come towards the light that you radiate because there's just something so powerful about it. It's so attractive. And it's not forced. There's no control in it. It's just pure magic that lies right within you. You recognize your value as a person and not as the things you own. And you're not the things you have or your job or your title or your status. You're no longer the things that used to define you because you have used to define yourself by those things. And instead now you feel that what defines you is your character, your actions, the words you speak, the actions you take, the way you interact with the world, the way you show up in the world. It's more about just the person that you are and not about things outside of you. And if that what makes you valuable, truly, then isn't it so? It's quite the surprise. I mean, if so many people rely on external things to define them, on materialism, on status, on titles, on the way that others perceive them, instead of their own core energy, well,